Okay, in this video, I'm going to be comparing three very good subwoofers: the Monolith 15, the PB-3000, and the PB-4000. Now, these are going to be my own opinions and my own reasonings. It's important that you follow your own. Now, before I get started, please subscribe and like this video, and it's a good idea to hit the bell too, because some of my videos are time sensitive. Now, the purpose of this video is not to declare clear winners and losers, but to lay out the differences so that you can make a decision based on your personal needs. Now, SVS has been super supportive and great with communication. Monoprice, not so much, but that really doesn't weigh on my opinion or really change my opinion at all. But I do think it's a fair disclosure. Both are affiliates, so whether you go with one or another, if you want to support my channel, you can follow my links. Either way, it doesn't really matter that much to me. I just want to lay out the differences so you can make the decision for yourself. So I'm going to rank these subs in several categories, and so if one category is more important to you than another, it should make your own decision a little easier. At the end of the video, I'm going to tell you which I would choose personally, but your own choice may very well differ from my opinion. First thing is, we'll get right into it, is the price. The PB-4000 is the most expensive. The PB-3000 is right in the middle, and the Monolith 15, at least at the time of making this video, was the least expensive. So the Monolith wins on the price comparison. Relative Infrasonics. Now, Infrasonics, I'm going to be doing a video on that alone, but Infrasonics are essentially inaudible bass, and some people really love Infrasonics. Some people are sensitive to it. It bothers their ears. So that is kind of, it could go either way as far as what's important to you. Personally, I found that I'm not that big a fan of Infrasonics, which kind of surprised me. But in terms of Infrasonics, the 3000 had the least amount of relative Infrasonics. The PB-4000 in extended mode did better in terms of having more infrasonics, and the Monolith 15 had the most relative infrasonics. So in terms of having the most infrasonic bass, the Monolith 15 definitely took it on that one. Now, size is another one, and this one's kind of weird because the 4000 and the Monolith 15 are kind of similar. They're both very large. But I'm going to say the Monolith was the largest appearing. They may even be the exact same dimensions, or the exact same volume. I haven't really looked into that all that carefully, but the Monolith is the most imposing. It's really tall and it's deep, and so it's the biggest. The PB-4000, it's shorter but wider, but also very big. But the PB-3000 is the smallest, so it takes up the least amount of space. And so in terms of size, I think the PB-3000 wins on that category. Wattage, this is another interesting one. The PB-3000 has the least amount of wattage at 800 watts, but it has the split wind voice coil, which kind of changes the game a little bit. It makes it sound like a higher wattage sub. The Monolith 15 is right in the middle at 1000 watts, and the PB-4000 comes in at 1200 watts. So in terms of wattage alone, the PB-4000 is on top in that category. Driver size, pretty obvious one. The 3000 has the smallest driver at 13 inches. PB-4000 has 13.5 inches, and the Monolith 15 at 15 inches. So the Monolith wins in the terms of the biggest driver. Now, refinement. This one is kind of subjective, but in terms of refinement, I would have to say that the Monolith is the least refined. It has 3 different port configurations and 2 different EQ settings, and that's about it. The PB-3000 only has 2 port configurations. However, because of the SVS app and being able to modify the response curve using the parametric EQs, it's a little more refined. Having that app and things like that, it's more refined. The PB-4000 takes the cake, though. It is the most refined subwoofer in this category. It's got 3 port configurations, it's got the PEQs and all that stuff, but it's also got the remote and the display up front, and it comes in piano gloss. So it's easily the most refined subwoofer in this group, which makes sense because it's also the most expensive. Okay, depth of presentation. This is a funny one because it's something I've explained in the past, and You know, you can have a sub that goes all the way down to 5 hertz, but doesn't sound as deep as a sub that only goes to 20 hertz. Okay, it's how deep it sounds. You know, infrasonic bass is, you know, inaudible. So in terms of what you're hearing, you can have a sub that only goes to 20 hertz that sounds a lot deeper than a sub that goes all the way under 10 hertz. It's how it sounds to your ears, and you can see that on a graph. It's not something I'm just making up, but you can see it on a graph. And so the PB-3000 has the least or the lowest depth of presentation in terms of it's not as deep sounding as the rest. The Monolith is in the middle there. It has a very good depth of presentation. And then the PB-4000 in its standard configuration has the deepest depth of presentation. Now, if you put the PB-4000 and the Monolith, and you have the PB-4000 in extended mode and the Monolith in extended mode with all ports open, it's hard to tell the difference because they both have a really deep sound. It's almost an identical graph. However, I would be able to pick out the two just by hearing, just by sensing the infrasonics. I won't say hearing the infrasonics because you can't hear them, but I can definitely feel them. And to me, it's a little uncomfortable. But in terms of, you know, the depth of presentation, the 4000 in standard mode has the deepest sound. Now, there's an asterisk to that, is that I can take the PB-3000s, bump it at 21 to 22 hertz, and boost the gain and adjust the Q on the PEQ, and just using one PEQ in the SVS app, and basically match the PB-4000. So while the 3000 has the lowest or the most shallow depth of presentation, that's easily fixed just by adjusting one PEQ on each sub. So that's an important consideration. But yeah, but as they come, the PB-4000 has the best depth of presentation in the standard mode. Explosiveness. I did this video recently about explosive bass versus loud bass. And all three of these subs are amazing when it comes to explosiveness. That part's undeniable. And listening to all three, I had the 4000 first, then I had the Monolith, and then now I've got the PB-3000s in here. And in terms of explosiveness, they all were about even, this with a slight edge to the 4000. And so they were all really close. So in terms of explosiveness, all three of these subs are going to do really well and be really close in terms of that wow presentation, that just kick you in the chest. I think all three of them are really good. It's hard to pick a winner in that case. But again, I'll give the slight edge to the 4000. Appearance. This is an important one. The Monolith, I think, is probably, all of them are attractive subs in my opinion. I don't want to suggest that they're not, but the Monolith would probably be the least attractive, followed by the PB-3000, and I'm giving it to the 4000. Even though it's bigger and it takes up more space, I'm giving it to the 4000 because it's got you can get it in a piano gloss. The other two subs you cannot, and so in terms of appearance, it can definitely take the cake if you're wanting a piano gloss finish. Personally, I like the black oak myself, but that piano gloss finish is absolutely gorgeous. Now this is an important one, spouse acceptance factor or wife acceptance factor. And this is basically notes from my wife. The 4000 is probably the lowest on the spouse acceptance factor, followed by the 4000, followed by the 3000. So why that order? I think the 3000 is the most, in terms of spouse acceptance factor, its size, it's smaller. Also, it doesn't have the front panel like the PB-4000 does, which can kind of be a toddler magnet. But also the metal grills are a lot easier to clean and keep nice versus the cloth. I actually left the cloth grill off of the monoliths because I didn't want my dogs getting them dusty. So with the metal grill, it's just a lot easier to clean. But in terms of like spouse acceptance factor, truly the 3000s win because of their size. They don't have a front panel that attract kids, and the grill is very easy to keep clean. So in that case, and those are notes directly from my wife, those are the things that she found important. Loudness, This is a funny one because I always talk about the importance of duals. If you're doing any of these subs, you really should be doing duals. Don't get a single, seriously. Any one of these, you're going to be, it's so much better as duals. It's so much better to split your budget and go with a smaller sub. I'd stick with subs on the list, but split your budget, get 2 smaller subs. It will sound better than a single larger sub. But with that said, all of these in duals, none of them ever got close to a limit for me. I actually tried to find the limit on the PB-4000s. I did find it. I found the compression, and it was just so friggin' loud. It was painful. And so all of these will get to a point of causing ear damage before they run out of steam if you're running them as duals. And so to me, it's not even worth figuring out which one will go the loudest. I mean, I'll look it up and figure out which one has the max SPL, but I never buy subs based on max SPL, especially in this case because none of them are getting anywhere close to their limits. Back strain. The 4000 is definitely at the bottom of this list on back strain. It's the worst at 151 pounds or 153. I'll put the numbers, I'll put the weights up for each sub so you can see them. But the Monolith is better, but the 3000 is just so much easier to move around, so much easier to handle. It's a sub I can manhandle myself versus the other subs where I absolutely need help to move them. So in terms of back strain, the 3000s absolutely win that one. Value is an interesting one. The 4000 I'm going to put last because it's the most expensive, and it just costs more. And the Monolith I'm going to put in the middle, and I'm going to give it to the 3000 on this one. And that's it's for 2 things. First of all, with the PB-3000, you can upgrade later to a PB-16 Ultra. You have a year to do that. So long as you order factory direct, you have a year to upgrade, and you can get to a PB-16 Ultra, which is a phenomenal sub, and frankly, blows all 3 of these away. And if I had the 3000 and I was upgrading, I would skip over the 4000 because they're so close in performance. SVS probably doesn't like me saying that, but I would go from the 3000 to the 16 Ultra. Also, in terms of return shipping, it's really the value is there in terms of return shipping. It's free with SVS. With Monoprice, you have to pay for that. And with the Monoprice, I got my bill back. It was $391 to send it less than 500 miles. So in those terms, I think the 3000, despite it being a higher price, is a little bit better value. Now you can dispute that. Again, these are just my opinions. I'm giving you what I think about it, but that's the way I look at it. Warranty, they're all 5 years, so that's basically a tie. Return policy, this is an interesting one because I'm going to give it to one over the other for a particular reason. The return policy for Monoprice is you're subject to pay for the return shipping. I already went over that, but the 3000s are in the middle, and the PB-4000 wins in terms of return policy. Now, why is that? Because it is also crate shipped. It comes on a pallet. And it's really expensive to return those in freight shipping. So that's more of a value for something like the PB-4000 versus the 3000 because the 3000 is a lot less expensive to ship. The 4000 is a lot more expensive to ship. So that's where I think it wins in the return policy. Psycho-Acoustics, this is where you look at it, and because it looks impressive, it sounds more impressive to you. It's a phenomenon. You can look into it, but which one looks the most impressing or the most imposing? Which one looks the most dramatic? The 3000 is the least impressive in terms of psychoacoustics. It doesn't look that impressive compared to the others. The PB-4000 is second in terms of psychoacoustics. It looks more impressive than the 3000, but the Monolith definitely wins the psychoacoustics because it's a taller sub, it's got a bigger driver, it just looks more imposing. So it definitely wins in that category. After all that, considering all those things, hopefully that helps you figure out what you're looking for, but my own personal choice is kind of weird. My choice is the smallest, least powerful sub, the PB-3000. It's because of the weight. I move subs around for a living, and it hurts. So moving the 3000s is like a blessing. It's so much easier to manage, and it makes it moving around it's a delight comparably. Also, the explosiveness is on par with the other two subs. So I don't feel, I went from the 4000 to the Monolith to the 3000. What did I lose? Nothing really. To me, in terms of what I wanted, I lost nothing. I had all the output I want, the same amount of explosiveness, and I can match the shape of the response curve of the 3000s to match the 4000s in the standard mode. So what am I losing there? I can't see anything that I'm losing. The only thing I'm really losing is Infrasonics, which I don't mind personally. For me, it's all about what I can hear audibly instead of what I can measure on a graph. So, but again, follow your own thing there. But yeah, in terms of like what I lost, if I were to close my eyes and hear all three of these subs, the only one I'd be able to really pick out would be the mono price, strictly because I'd be able to sense that infrasonic bass. It's the one thing I'd be able to pick out. Aside from that, they're so close and the explosiveness is there. It's all very similar. Again, I don't feel like I'm losing anything by going with the 3000. And on top of that, the prospect of trading up to the PB-16 Ultras is really appealing. And granted, that may never be an option for you, so you can take it for what it's worth. Also, it seems to be a consensus that SVS does provide better customer service. I didn't have a bad experience in dealing with Monoprice in terms of customer service because I had to order from them and stuff like that. However, I felt like if I wanted some really detailed information about subwoofers and bass, I think I'd be able to get more knowledge from SVS. I might be wrong there, but that's just my impression. So that's my practical experience with these subs. You can examine the specs and performance figures all day long, but there's no substitute for dual subwoofer seat time, actually living with them and really figuring out what they're all about. Because you can bench race all day and say, well, this sub puts out more output at this range and this, Live with them. Plug them in and see what you think. Now, me personally, they were all on a level playing field in terms of output, or at least having plenty of output for me, and that explosiveness and the depth of presentation. They're all very good. This is a very close comparison, something I'm actually happy to be able to do. So you may decide that, for you, the 4000s are right, or for you, the Monolith 15 is right. None of that's wrong. It's your personal choice, but that's why I wanted to make this video, to give you these little everyday kind of considerations and give you my feedback on it, having heard all three in sequence. And so I think that's relevant experience, and not just listening to one. I won't compare a subwoofer if I can only listen to one, because you can't hear everything. You don't get an impression of what a sub's all about unless you have two. And so, but that's why I want to do this video, is just share my different thoughts. As far as, true winners and true losers, I don't think there is one. I think all three of them are very good. I think it's just a matter of what's important to you. So take that for what it's worth. I enjoyed checking out all three. Again, they're all three very good. You're not going to go wrong with either one of them, and you're not going to be disappointed with any of them. And if you are, put it in the comments. It's important to do the distance hack and the gain hack and all these things. All these things, my bass hack series, if you're having a problem getting the most out of these subs, check out my bass hack series. It'll really help you figure it out. But all of them should definitely bring a smile to your face. So for me, in that sense, this was a very fun video to do because they're all good. So I'm glad to do a video like that. So that's my comparison. Thank you so much for watching. Definitely subscribe and definitely hit the bell. Around this time of year, I've got videos that come out that are pretty interesting. So definitely stay tuned. And once again, thanks so much for watching, and please subscribe.